Train by day, Kyle Wigginton podcast by night, all day.
Sometimes it's just Waffle being very, very excited about things.
Well, dude, it's Waffle speaking in code.
I mean, I understand what he's saying most of the time, but he likes speaking in code.
Well, like you and Emily may understand what he's saying, but I'm sure Adam and I are like, what the fuck? Like if you're not on the Discord, it's like I don't understand Discord. I think that's how I know I'm getting old.
There should be another bar Discord. There should be a Discord for the bar.
What is a Discord? It's a server.
It's like a community space. It's like it'd be like a virtual version of the bar. Like you'd set up like the bar room, and then you'd set up in here. This is what do you call this room in here? Like the open mic room. Okay. You know, you could do an open mic room, and then you could have like the concert performance. You could have an arcade, and it's a virtual representation of what the bar is. It's where community members from the bar could hang out while they're online. You know.
See, that makes sense. But like if you just log on to Discord and you don't understand that aspect of it.
Well, not all of them are set up. Some of them are just like, yo, we're like weird people on Discord.
But it just looks like a cluster to me. That's why I get on there and I'm like, every one of them is totally different, which makes sense now that you say that because every room is totally different.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like a cluster of different pages and then a million people talking all at once.
Yeah, some of the ones that are way too like the 10KTF Discord got way too much for me to be in it every day, but I still check in on it on Thursdays and like nobody notices what I say because I'm not nearly active enough in there.
Does that matter?
Yeah, being active, like it's like certain Discords, not all of them, but certain ones like will assign a bot to assign experience points like an RPG, and then you earn rankings in the Discord.
That's kind of creepy too, isn't it? That a bot like controls those things.
Well, I mean, have you heard of you probably heard of the dead internet theory?
No.
The dead internet theory is that 75%, maybe even 80% of everything on the internet is just bots. Like even at this point, it's like video, everything is a bot. Nothing's real. It's all AI produced. Like you ever see really just strange videos on TikTok and you're like, why the fuck did you make this? Like this is the weirdest thing ever. Like you fucking put a penny inside a cucumber. Why? You know, because it's not real. It's all fucking computer generated. At least that's what the dead internet people think. I like to think it's real sometimes.
I mean, it makes sense when you think about the amount of disinformation and misinformation that's out there, right? If there was a government program that just wanted to pump out misinformation, they would just use AI bots.
I also found out about these real interesting people the other day called targeted individuals. Have you heard about those?
I'm sure I'm one of them.
Do you get like a burning sensation?
In my butthole?
I mean, anywhere. They get burning sensations all over their body. They hear like what they call it V2K, voice to skull. And they hear voices and shit.
What is that? What do they do?
They tell them shit like, we're going to fucking change your passwords.
It's like an MI6. Is that what it's called or something like that? What's
MK Ultra?
MK Ultra. Yeah.
They say it's like MK Ultra. They use like different fucking declassified documents like that to support their theories. And but they're like normal people. Like besides thinking that they hear voices, most of them are just like there's at least 10,000 people in the US that identify as a targeted individual.
But that's like self-identifying, right?
Yeah, most of them.
Yeah, so maybe they're just crazy.
I mean, like, no, any psychiatrist would say they're crazy. Yeah. But they're like, no, I'm not crazy. I'm a targeted individual. The table vibrates and then my body starts burning because they're shooting microwave beams at me.
I mean, is that what the science behind it is?
I don't think there's any sign. There. I mean, there is evidence of use of like energy weapons and microwave like fucking weapons and stuff like that. All that's real, you know? But whether or not these people that have no connections to anything or anybody, like, you know, that may not be. But who knows? There's so many of them. At least one of them has to be telling the truth, right?
What? So my thoughts on that are that one way to disperse disinformation would be to hit these not high profile targets, but just targets that will believe this information. So that's one thing that Facebook was doing over that's one thing they got in trouble for over the elections and stuff, was because they were specifically targeting individuals they knew they could sway and manipulate, and not manipulate them specifically, but to manipulate everyone else they talk to. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's Facebook profits off of it because these people like, you know, like if a Russian meme farm runs an ad on Facebook, you know, Facebook makes ad dollars off of whatever clicks that they get off of that.
But I mean, that makes sense with the targeting individuals too. If the CIA wanted to pump some kind of information into the public, they would target certain individuals that could influence.
I think they do that through movies and TV more than anything, man.
I would say so.
Like that's the easiest way to do it. Like I love police procedural dramas, man. But like whatever the zeitgeist of whatever the current agenda is definitely pumped out through all the TV shows that I love.
Well, there's a reason it's called broadcast.
Yes,
because you're broadly casting the spell.
It's broadcast programming.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I still love TV. So, I mean, you know, I'm like,
well, I mean, if you know that part of it,
I talk about that with my friends all the time. Is like some people, TV, films, like movies and stuff, it affects people differently. Like I can watch a horror movie and I'll go to sleep after. And some people are like, I need to move out of my neighborhood. There's a killer that lives here. So some people definitely need to, like, it's like caffeine or, you know, cigarettes. It's like you need to regulate your consumption if you're you know, I don't even know if it's maybe people with addictive personalities, but like, you know, people get into something and they start binging it all the time. And they're like, oh my God, I've stayed up all night watching serial killer documentaries. And you're like, is that really good for you that you're watching serial killer documentaries every night before you go to sleep?
I mean, I guess there are trains of thought on that too, where one, you might, you know, end up flipping the switch and becoming a serial killer, or two, it's good just to know what people do. The more you know what to avoid and what to look out for, right?
I don't know. You can't avoid some of these serial killers. They're so random. There was that guy driving around DC. They were just shooting people out of the trunk.
Well, now it's a good time for me to tell you this really isn't a podcast.
What is it?
You're locked in the bar right now with me. This is how I film my victims.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I'm going to interview you before I murder you.
It's kind of like Creep. Have you ever seen that with the Duplass brothers?
What is that?
They're some local filmmakers. They got I think his name's Mark. Mark Duplass did The League. Mm-hmm. He was on The League. I can't remember his character's name, but his brother's name I don't remember. But they did Jeff Who Lives at Home, which is a pretty, you know, big movie, big independent film, good comedy with Jason Segel. And then they kind of like didn't like Hollywood that much. And they're like, we can just make movies together. And they kind of created, have you ever seen any of the mumblecore films? They kind of created the mumblecore genre.
What's that?
It's like films that are like really independent and they're shot and the characters, like maybe a lot of the dialogue's improvised and the characters don't really necessarily enunciate. Cause like in regular conversations, people don't talk like they do in blockbuster movies, you know? So they're a little bit more authentic that way. And it created this really popular genre of independent film around the time that like mini DV and, you know, professional camcorders became accessible to independent filmmakers where they didn't cost tens of thousands of dollars. It was maybe just $10,000, you know, like around 2006. And then they started making horror movies and people called them mumblegore movies because they were shot in the same way that mumblecore movie would be filmed, you know, like almost like there's a third person in the room shooting these two people talking. But it's a horror film instead of being a movie about a romance or this person's, you know, individual, whatever. It
amazes me at some of the films that people watch. Like I guess I never was like a huge film buff when I was growing up, but I mean, sometimes, you know, we'll host little shows here and they'll bring in these independent films. Like what was the Thanksgiving one?
Oh, Thanksgiving. Yeah, that's an excellent one. I mean, how many other movies are, you know, holiday themed, you know? I mean, you could watch Poultrygeist by Lloyd Kaufman, which is an excellent film, but that's not really, you know, those are chickens. Those aren't turkeys.
So what you're saying is we should make a Turkey Day film.
Thanksgiving, I think you could do one around. They've done some pretty interesting ones around Thanksgiving, like based around that. There was a pretty good like Puritan Pilgrim one where they was like, you know, kind of like this cult that were still pilgrims. Mm-hmm. And I think there was another one maybe like Blumhouse did. But I think I think holiday horror is an easy one, man, because I mean, especially if you can get theatrical distribution. Like I'll go see any holiday horror film. Like if they come out with like 10 more Black Christmas remakes, I'll go see every one of them as long as you release it in December.
So, well, there's one scene in Thanksgiving where the turkey ran out and raped someone. When that would happen? Or am I? I heard someone say
probably.
I wasn't watching it, but I heard someone say that the turkey ran.
Usually, when you watch those movies with a group of people and you're drinking, maybe something else, and I don't know.
It's about like the collective. It's not about the actual film.
Oh yeah, it's about that's what all films are for me anyway. That's why I like going to the theater. I don't like watching movies at home. The film's about a collective experience. Like you hear filmmakers talk about it, and I used to not necessarily agree with them, and that's you still don't need to go to a theater to experience a film, but it's a different experience. It's a better experience. Yep. It's the way a film's meant to be seen, is in a dark room with a crowd of people. Maybe, like the way Britannia Theater's set up, that's the way films are supposed to be watched. Like I love AMC and they've got great screens and great sound systems, but the actual setup of Britannia with the curtains and how they dim the lights and the lobby and even having the balcony, that's the way that like films were originally meant to be viewed. That's kind of like how Tarantino's got like 5 theaters out in LA now, and his coolest one I think is the New Beverly. Everything they show there is in 35 millimeter, and it's just a great like classic theater. Mm-hmm. We lost a bunch of them here, and like if somebody would have came in and like restored them, they'd be great. Probably money makers, but a lot of them got torn down after Katrina.
Yeah.
Or they just sat there and got too. I mean, the State Palace Theater there downtown's just still sitting there and just rotting away. That was a beautiful, beautiful theater.
That's why I like talking to people like you, because you love going to that's something you're passionate about. Like for me, I can just sit at home, watch a Netflix film, get the same enjoyment out of it as I can in the theater. And I don't know what that is, because I understand like the concept of being in the theater and all the stuff around you and like the ambiance and stuff. And that's how it's supposed to be seen. I get that. And I know some directors direct specifically for those situations. But for me, I just sit at home and watch it on Netflix.
No, yeah. I mean, I love watching movies at home and like analyzing them and stuff. But for that, especially if it's like some sort of weird genre film, they're way cooler in person than they are at home. Like if you watch some shitty low budget B slasher movie or something, like you might not have any fun. Or like The Room. Have you ever seen The Room?
With oh my God, what's the guy's name?
Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah. I haven't seen it, no.
Okay. So like The Room is a movie, like the first time you watch that, you should be by yourself. You should probably watch it by yourself and be like, what the fuck did I just watch? And then you should go to a theater. I don't know. Maybe you should go to a theater the first time and just go in blind and have no idea what you're in for. The last time I went though, it was still like mid-COVID, I guess. I don't even know where we are. It's a global pandemic, but we're not in a pandemic here in the US. And I'm not trying to say anything controversial whatsoever. I'm just repeating the news I heard on Alexa yesterday. But this is like, I think you didn't have to wear masks, but like this was at the point where everybody that didn't want to wear masks started wearing masks because they didn't want to get vaccinated. And like to go to the theater, they were like requiring vaccination. So these people probably had fake vax cards, which was whatever. I don't give a shit what people do. Like do whatever you need to do. You need to lie, cheat, and steal to get where you want to be. Like,
that's the world, right?
Live like Eddie Guerrero. Okay,
yeah,
that's what Eddie Guerrero did. Lie, cheat, and steal.
The wrestler?
Yeah, Latino. That was his. That was like his slogan: lie, cheat, and steal.
Yeah, that was a character though, right? He didn't.
No, Eddie was supposed to be a good guy.
Yeah. Everybody
loved Eddie.
But anarchy.
Yeah, anarchy, motherfucker. I don't know what it means, but I love it. Yeah, but anyway,
we're talking about
we were at the theater last time I went to go see The Room. Everybody was pissed off. Like, I don't know. If you've never seen The Room before, it's a fucking whacked out film.
About it, yeah.
That they spent like $1 million on, and you'll be like, why the fuck did you spend $1 million on it? But he's made so much money off of it since then, showing midnight matinees around the country. And
it's a cult classic now.
They made that James Franco movie based off of it that won like Golden Globes and stuff. So I mean, it's been very profitable for him at this point, I'm sure. And you throw spoons at the screen, like plastic spoons. It's part of the reason why you go. It's kind of like Rocky Horror Picture Show. Mm-hmm. But people were pissed. Like it was like right after COVID and shit, and people were pissed. Like, why the fuck are you throwing these spoons? I've never seen this movie before. And I'm like, well, that's why you come here. You come here to fucking throw the spoons. Why are you pissed off? You know what I'm saying? So, but it was also at a smaller theater that didn't have a large crowd. And that's what I mean about the like communal experience. Like when you got a large crowd of people and you're all fucking drunk and throwing spoons, it's insane.
It makes sense in that situation. Like the Rocky Horror Picture Show, I understand that. So, I mean, it totally makes sense in that situation.
Have you ever been to Rocky Horror?
That was actually the first acting experience I ever had.
Really?
I acted in the live production of Rocky Horror.
Who were you? Were you had to be Rocky Horror, right?
Obviously.
Obviously.
So, the guy, that's the only reason I got the part too, because I'd never acted before in my life. I was up until that point, I was just modeling in front of the camera. Mm-hmm. And then this guy, he came to me and he's like, hey, we need a Rocky. And I was like, what is that?
Just a big, tall, buck and tan, good looking guy.
I didn't even have a clue what it was. And that's all he wanted. He's like, we just need your body. And I was like, okay. Yeah. So I was like, sure, I'll do it. And then he's like, you might want to go home and watch the movie first. So I went and watched it and I was like, oh, this is going to be cool. And then it was one of the greatest experiences I've had acting. Oh
yeah, I love Rocky Horror, man. Mm-hmm. Ever since I went to like a flea market when I was a little kid, and I bought the Rocky Horror picture book, and it was like a bunch of stills from the movie. And I'm like, what the fuck is? And I was like, dude, real young. I don't know why they sold it to me. Like I was like 5, you know. Yeah. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then I finally saw the movie on like Comedy Central or something years later. I'm like, this is rad.
I love that movie, dude. I mean, the songs are amazing.
I tried to take my girlfriend one time, but we were like in California and I think we ate some edibles or something. And she was like, I can't go do this right now.
Has she seen it since?
No, I don't think she's ever seen it. She's seen the sequel. There's a sequel to Rocky Horror. It doesn't have the original actors in it, but the leads are named Brad and Janet. It's called Shock Therapy. They're newlyweds and they go on this game show and they fail the game show and they put them in an insane asylum and give them like shock therapy.
Well, I mean, how can they have another Rocky Horror without?
I don't know. It's not very well known, but it's like the unofficial sequel. I think it's the original writer or like one of the original filmmakers or one of the original creators of Rocky Horror was involved in some way to where they made a sequel. I saw it at Britannia one time. It's nowhere near as good as Rocky Horror, but like, you know, it's worth checking out.
That's the real question is why was Rocky Horror so fucking good?
Well, I think it was like an on-stage play first, maybe. I mean, I don't know. It's great, man. I mean, Tim Curry killed that role as Frankenfurter, you know, and Meatloaf's in it iconically. All
the actors did amazing. The songs were fucking awesome.
Yeah, Barry Boswick. I mean, like, you know, like what's he know? Like Barry Boswick's a pretty great
all those actors, yeah.
But like what he's best known for now is that and The Mayor in Spin City. And I mean, like Rocky, you know, no offense to Spin City. Spin City is a cool show for its time, but like Rocky Horror is like iconic. Like, you know, nobody will ever. I don't think 20 years from now people will be. I don't think they'll remember Spin City. I think they'll remember Rocky Horror.
Yeah, Rocky Horror is gonna live forever.
Yeah.
I would actually that's the only play that I would ever do again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've only done 2. I'm not a big fan of musical theater, but I would definitely, I would throw down that in a heartbeat.
I always wish they did like more, like off Broadway. It was originally off Broadway. I don't think it was ever on Broadway, but they didn't bring it around the country or anything. But have you ever seen Reefer Madness, the musical?
Mm-mm.
I always thought that would have been a cool one to do because I feel like it could be a successor to Rocky Horror.
Like a film?
It was a film. They did make a film for the musical. It was Showtime original. That was really cool. But the on stage version, like if they brought it around the country, I thought that it could have but the film version was pretty cool for Showtime.
Yeah.
I don't know that it will replace Rocky Horror because, you know, you need that theatrical release, I think, to reach a wide enough audience to create a cultural impact. Still.
I don't know, man. Like, I guess... I mean, I didn't get a hold of Rocky Horror until I was in my 20s, so it just happened to pop in my life. But you think that's what made it reach that broad range?
I still think a theatrical release, people are like, oh, this is a real movie.
We don't think that it has something to do with the fact that on Halloween, a lot of people like do the plays and stuff?
That's part of it, but I think that its original impact was because it got a wide release in the theaters. You know, like you put something out on Netflix or you put it on YouTube or whatever, you know, they're all major platforms and like people have the option to watch it or not. But people, when they're going to the movies, are like, they've got like 6 options, you know?
Dude, Tim Curry, he crushed it so hard in that movie. I can hear songs in my head right now.
No, he's incredible. He's good in he was great in as the monster in Fern Gully. I mean, like everything he's ever done is great.
Is he dead?
No, he's not. His health isn't great, but he's still alive. I think he had a stroke. Poor guy.
It's part of it, right?
I mean, yeah, getting older, right? Yeah. That's why you got to take care of yourself.
Yeah. I was just taking care of myself in case someone asked me to play Rocky again, really.
That's good.
That's all it is. But I mean, it works both ways.
They did one of those ones for NBC, one of those live ones. You had an opportunity.
Well, so the cool thing about where we were at in Arkansas, we did in Arkansas. And you would think there's not that much talent there, but in Little Rock, Arkansas, we managed to pull together enough talent to put on an amazing performance of this.
I mean, because anywhere there is, people love that film enough to where even if they aren't traditional actors, it's like they've acted it out in their living room already. They've got their favorite character. I mean, people will go to the theater and act it out, you know, there in front of the screen. So, well,
like I said, this was my first experience with acting ever, and I was blown away by these people. I was like, is everyone always going to be this fucking good? I mean, they were every fucking song. These people were crushing it. And, you know, like sometimes you have actors that they're good actors, but they're not great singing, not great at musicals. Dude, they fucking knocked it out of the park.
Well, they've got great songs too.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, how many, I can't think like.
Our Frankenfurter was amazing.
That new Disney film though, I haven't seen it, but that one's got like, you know, like when you got great songs that can like chart on the radio and stuff, that's when you know you got a winner.
Dude, our Frankenfurter, hopefully he never watches this, but as soon as we finished the production, he went directly to jail.
That's cool. That's pretty authentic, right?
Yeah. He went directly to jail for some charges. And I think he was in there for about 5 years. So this is like his last shebang before he went in. This guy was incredible.
That's awesome. That might be why he gave the performance he gave.
Oh, it was amazing. He knew he was going to be locked up.
Yeah. I mean, like if I, you know, that was like Tupac right before he went in, right?
Yeah.
Dude, they used to play, like, I think my friend reminded me the other day because he shared like one of those like 90s self-help videos. And I'm like, yo, they used to play this in in-school suspension. Do you know what in-school suspension is? It's like when you get in trouble and for anybody that doesn't know what in-school suspension is, it's when you get in trouble and you're not allowed to stay home. You still have to come to school and you don't get to do any work that counts towards graduation. You just have to do like multiplication tables and stuff. And then you have to stay like an hour after school.
Prison.
Yeah. And they made you watch these videos, like scared straight videos and shit. That, like, don't be a bad kid. And like one of them was like Tupac in prison, like being like, oh man, I don't want to be. I used to think I needed to be up in here to be a man, but you don't want to be up in here. It was funny that they were showing, because at this point, Tupac had been dead for years. You know what I'm saying? He's like telling us not to live the thug life. No, when he came out of prison and did exactly what he said he wasn't going to do, you know, which is much love to Tupac. I'm not saying Tupac is an amazing poet, amazing musician, but these tapes are funny. And I tried to go find them on YouTube, but now they're like selling them. And I'm like, they're selling the fucking in-school suspension tape on like Voodoo for like $14. I'm like, I almost thought about buying it.
What? Okay. First, I got 2 questions. Do you know Tupac's last words?
I have no idea what his last words are.
Oh, bro, it's so thug. The cop that came up to the car where Tupac was, he was like bleeding out, right? He's like exasperating, fixing to die. And the cop was like, you know, who did this? You got one last time chance to tell me. And Tupac was like, fuck you, pig. And then he like died. And it's like, oh shit, how fucking thug can you be? Like he went down.
Well, I mean, he for real hated the police. I mean, like he was born in prison because his mom was, you know, arrested. He got in that whole fucking civil lawsuit. He killed those 2 cops or whatever. But he proved with, you know, in a court of law that, hey man, they were the aggressors. I defended myself.
Yeah.
And yeah, he just did not have a positive image of the police.
Clearly, I mean, I would say that's street cred right there. The fact that he went down on his deathbed and still didn't rat on somebody.
Yeah, I think that he you know,
he probably had a hard time in the beginning because of how much of an artist he was, you know, because like he did ballet and he danced and like he fucking studied acting, and they were probably like, man, you're not a thug.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, fuck, I'm not.
Hell yeah. The ultimate thug. My second question is, what were you in ISS for? In school suspension. What were you in school suspension?
I've got no idea.
Okay.
I don't remember.
So
that was way too long ago. I mean, I was in school suspension a bunch of times. I can't.
They showed us a Tupac tape. They showed us that, like, you might have seen it on like Instagram. They're like, yo, don't sexually assault people. And like the kids like jumping around and stuff. Like it's like a really cheeseball, like
they
90s
didn't show
sexual
us those
assault tape.
things. They didn't show us those things in Arkansas.
They showed us I'm telling you how many, like, I'm trying to remember how many times I've been in there, because I've seen at least 4 different tapes. You know what I'm saying? So
it's like movie day.
Kinda. But like you had to be at school like an hour after school let out. So like all the cool shit your friends are doing, and you're like, I'm not doing anything today. I'm not going to fucking Warehouse Music or hanging out with any girls. I'm gonna have to go home.
Well, did it work?
What? No.
Oh, you still just kept coming back?
What, to school? No, I stopped going. Like I got an in-school suspension. I'm like, I'm not going to fucking in-school suspension.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they kicked me out. And then I went and got my GED.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't never do ISS in school suspension, but I did get suspended, and I also had Saturday school. Did you guys do those things?
Saturday detentions and fucking Saturday school. I also did fucking summer school one year, which really wasn't that bad. I should have just did it every year.
Why? What was so good about it?
The free lunch.
Oh, okay.
There were like hot chicks there. So like, you know, you'd be like, oh, yo, I need a ride to summer school. So like, it was just another opportunity to holler at girls. What
were the hot chicks doing in summer school?
They were stupid.
Oh, okay.
Like me.
Yeah. No, I didn't do summer school, but Saturday school fucking sucked, dude.
Being in school on Saturday, being at school sucked. Like you said, like, I don't know what kind of school you went to, but I went to a public school, and it was like you said, the prisons, like tuck your shirt. A lot of that shit. I knew people that like went to the same school before, like, you know, all the school shootings and stuff like that started to pop off, and it was a lot easier for them. You know, you could wear like regular clothes. Did you have to wear IDs? We had to wear IDs around our neck with our pictures on it and our names and shit. Like it was for real, like a prison.
No, I went to a small school in Arkansas, so there was no IDs. I mean, that was where one of the school shootings happened, really.
Really?
Yeah, it was West Side in Jonesboro, Arkansas, West Side schools. And it was my grade of people that got shot up. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't know anybody at that time that got shot up because we were younger then. It was like 9th grade or something. But as we kept growing, we played basketball against these guys, and like there was one that got hit, but like he just had an injury.
Survivor.
Yeah, survivor. But that's fucking nuts what those guys did up there.
Yeah, I mean, all school shootings are crazy.
You think they were the targeted 1,000?
Targeted individuals? I mean, probably not.
Probably not then.
Maybe. I mean, you can't tell with any of those things. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you know what's really going on inside anybody's head?
It's true. Why would people get targeted though? That's the real question.
They all say that they saw something that they weren't supposed to, but they can't tell you what it is because their memories were taken from them. Like a lot of times, like the experience will involve like a hospitalization or something like that as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, oh, I went to the hospital for a routine surgery and they took my memories and did something. Kind of like the Manchurian Candidate, I guess, which is great.
There's a lot of those. There's the OA. Have you seen the OA?
No, I don't think so.
The OA is a show that came on Netflix. They did 2 seasons of it. It was very interesting because it was basically dealt with near-death experiences. But this guy who they figured out these people, these humans they'd die and they would come back. So he would just kill them over and over again by drowning them and let them come back. And they didn't understand like what they were seeing when they first went to the other side. But after going through so many times, like having this experience so many times, they were given like these movements to do, like yoga type movements. And they figured out that whenever they did them all together, like all the 5 people or whatever they could go to the other side. When they did them all together, they would create a portal. And this portal would allow them to jump into the multiverse and go to a different body of theirs.
See, when they do stuff like that, I'm like, that's predictive programming, man. Like, you did that because y'all did that. You're like, hey, let's write a movie about it.
I think that's so there's something, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Gateway.
The Gateway experience.
Yeah, have you heard of this?
Yeah, man. It's like anytime somebody like starts talking to me, I'm like, you know, I don't, like Brittany brought it up at the bar the other night, and I'm like, don't ruin these people's night, man.
Oh, tell me.
With the universal hologram and all that,
yeah.
You know, and we're not real. Nothing's real, but it's all real. It's like we're like the universe is like Schrodinger's box, where it's all everything and nothing at the same time, and we're just all one consciousness experiencing itself subjectively to amass more knowledge in the data stream that is.
It makes sense
existent.
though, right?
Yeah, no, it makes total sense.
That's the bad thing about it, is it makes too much sense.
It makes exactly, and it's like theories that people, philosophers, shamans, like all these esoteric individuals have had for years, and now since 2003, there's been a declassified document from the CIA, literally like scientifically like chronicling it and being like, yeah, and you know why they did it originally, right? They wanted to weaponize astral projection,
remote viewing type stuff.
Yeah, they wanted to fucking use remote. They wanted to use remote viewing and astral projection as a weapon.
Did they?
They most likely did, but like the guy that wrote the paper warned, it's only like 30 pages. They found page 25 because that was always redacted, and they found it just like this year, maybe, or last year. You can get it on. There's a Vice journalist that found it from the people that wrote the original paper.
What does it say?
It just basically is like, it's like the Gospel of Thomas. If you've ever read that, it's like, fucking religion's not real. Believe whatever you want. Believe in whatever God you want. You're probably right. You know,
that's what page 25 says too.
Yeah, basically. Like that's like the too long didn't read, but you know, it basically is just like, it kind of breaks down the need for organized religion, you know, and so they probably like, we don't want to release this.
It's just control, right?
I guess. I mean, a lot of people need religion, you know, like they need it, you know. I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing. Certain religions clearly are, you know, when they're cults.
Right.
But then how do you do, like Rogan always talks about it on his podcast all the time. How do you determine what a cult is versus a regular religion? The line's so thin, you know?
Yeah.
One man's cult is another man's religion. So, touchy subject, but
why do you think it's a touchy subject?
Because people get so upset about it, their minds. That's what I mean. Like, some people need it. They need it. It's their moral compass. It gives them an idea of what's right and wrong, how they should behave, you know?
So it's like that cognitive dissonance that kicks in whenever whenever you start like saying something that conflicts with their beliefs.
Yeah, they're like, I need to protect my belief system and my version of reality. And
well, no, so apparently that actually has the same sense as physical pain whenever they feel this. That's why it like sets people off over the edge whenever you say something that their brain can't.
I believe it.
Yeah,
I believe that. I believe that. I mean, they're also just taught like it's like you're telling them everybody that they've ever loved is wrong. Like, hey, yo, my mom's not wrong, dude. You're trying to tell me my mom was wrong.
I came
my
to that
mom's
conclusion
not wrong,
when
dude.
I was like 14. I was like, oh yeah, everyone I know in my life has no clue what's going on.
Yeah, well, I mean, I got no clue what's going on. I just can recognize that, yo, I'm lost here in the universe just like everybody else. But some people are like, no, I know exactly what's going on. I could write it down on paper for you.
Yeah. Well, do they?
No, yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Fuck, dude. Next time they say that, tell them. We'll start collecting those bitches.
Yeah, I don't need that kind of data. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, I feel like if you collect enough of those, it's kind of like. So one thing I figured out when I used to work at the bars, when I used to bartend, I would ask the same questions over and over again to new people that came in the bar. And the reason I was doing this is because I was trying to get enough data built up to where I could like pinpoint like what was causing those similar problems. So I think the same thing could do with religion. If you take all these stories and you put the commonalities together, then you're gonna be able to weed out the falsities.
Maybe that's what Facebook's doing with all their bullshit.
I think so, man.
They're like, hey, we want to see how many dummies there are. And they're like, oh shit, they're all dummies.
They're all dumb. So one of the ways they train the AI computers is they like the things that they pop up where it says, click the 4 crosswalks, and you click the 4 crosswalks.
Oh yeah. The CAPTCHA, the reCAPTCHA.
Yeah. So that's actually how they train. This is my theory. So they train AI by doing that same thing. What they'll do is they'll input what a crosswalk looks like over and over again. And they'll input what a stoplight looks like over and over again until the AI gets enough data to where it can pinpoint one of those out every single time. So my theory is that they're just using humans to program it in, because the hardest part is the input of data, because you have to sit there and feed the data in manually to the AI. But if you could take a human or millions of humans and make them click verification, then they could show the AI exactly what the crosswalk was.
If Facebook just knew that's what the universal hologram's already doing without them.
Probably so, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what the idea of like when you get to like they describe the universe as an egg, and you get to the upper echelons of it, and when the further up you get closer to like whatever the data stream is, that like knowing all consciousness, like all knowing, all being, omnipresence, you know, but that's also nothingness. So.
Yeah, because in order to be everything, you have to be nothing, because it's a duality.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like just it's the same way they talk about the darkness and the light within the human. Like you can't just be pure light. In order to be pure light, you have to know your dark side too.
Like Mace Windu.
Is he? Yeah, he's purple, right?
Well, yeah, he just wanted a purple lightsaber, so they came up with a story for it. But I thought it was a pretty cool story.
That makes sense.
And purple lightsabers are pretty cool too. First one
works for the duality. I love Star Wars so much.
Yeah, Star Wars is great, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes I try to convince myself I'm not a Star Wars fan anymore, and then I'll see like the guy that played Jar Jar Binks. I'm like, holy shit! Somebody give me their phone. Jar Jar Binks is over there. I'm gonna go take a photo with him.
So I'm not that big of a fan of the people. I don't care about the people that played the characters. I just love that universe.
Well, he was also the best dressed person in the room, so it's like, you know.
Well, yeah, but if I could like go into that universe and live,
you will soon. I mean, you could act there. You know, act in the Millennium Falcon. Dude, you could probably play like a Han Solo, you know? I used to watch the Ewok Adventures when I was a child. Oh, fuck yeah. I love it. Dude, anybody that doesn't like the Ewok Adventures, fuck them.
You just want to
I liked the cartoons too, man. The Ewok cartoons and the droids. I liked all that shit when I was a kid. I didn't give a shit. That's why I ended up getting a Yorkie. I got a Yorkie. Oh, yeah. Because I'm like, they look like little Ewoks. They do look like Ewoks. Yeah. So another thing we were talking about before we came in, I want to touch on this before we have to quit up, is the world of crypto. Cryptocurrency. Yeah. So Andrew is one of the early adopters that I know that was in this game. He and I actually have a mining machine together, but he knows more about the NFT side of stuff than I do. So what were you saying earlier? You don't have to say names, but you know, you could talk about the projects and stuff. Because I think there's so many people that are interested in this, but they have no clue. And this is what I talk about with when I talk about the slang and stuff, you guys talk about the code words, because you're rugged. You're rugged. Yeah. No one knows what rugged is, but I mean, people are getting onto it. I was really surprised. You ever listen to Tim Dillon's podcast? He's fucking hilarious. If you don't listen to him, he's fucking really funny, kind of controversial. You probably like him. What does he do? He's just a comedian. He does a podcast, but he's into cryptocurrency, and I saw him on some podcasts talking about NFTs and crypto, and I'm like, fuck, this dude gets it. Dude, I've been telling everybody this. I'm like, you need to at least get some knowledge of it, because it's where the world's going. Like, well, yeah, you know, NFT is just number one. It's like if you're into collecting art, which I am, you know, like if your favorite artist puts something out, you probably support them if you like them. So one of my favorite artists did, and I didn't have a chance to buy one. Trevor Andrew, he's an awesome artist. He's done collaborations with like 2 Chainz, Gucci, very, very well known artist. And before that, he was a pro snowboarder, badass motherfucker on a snowboard. And his NFTs started reselling on the secondary market in like November of 2020, I think, for around like $32,000. I was like, holy shit. And another one of my favorite artists, Alex Party, released an NFT collection. I'm like, oh, I'm getting whatever he puts out next. And then, you know, fast forward a couple of months, and a mutual friend of ours is doing a profile picture project, which is a generative project. It'll have traits randomly applied, you know, and different traits have different rarities. And it's supposed to be your profile picture in the metaverse or on Discord, you know, and that's you. That represents you. Some people will keep the one they minted. They'll buy on secondary one that they feel like represents who they are as a person. But also there's a lot of money in just the day trading of it, which I don't really participate in too much. But, you know,
well, like you said, there they would resell on the secondary market for 30 grand on that one. So what were they picking them up for in the beginning? What were they minting for in the
500.
beginning? So minting for 500, then reselling for 30 grand.
No, it was maybe 600.
That's so insane.
30. I think it was like, it was around $500 or $600, and it sold for like 30 or 32,000. And then his NFTs got even crazier because, like, if you wanted to get the next one, you had to turn in 5 of his NFTs to burn, which means like burn means like traditionally you'd fucking burn the art. This means burn it on the blockchain. You don't have ownership of it anymore. It doesn't exist on the blockchain anymore.
Why would he do that to people?
So they could get this new one if they want it, because they're artist edition prints. So like certain ones would have like 1 of 10, they weren't 1 of 1s. But if you wanted to get the next one in the fucking succession of his prints, you'd have to turn in 5 of these. So it'd make the other ones even more rare.
And people actually did this?
Fuck yeah, people did it.
God,
people burned, there was another, so anyway, profile pictures and NFTs. And so you get profile pictures, people day trade them and stuff. There's money in it. This is like maybe we're not even in summer of 2021 yet. You know, like profile pictures are super hot. Bored Ape Yacht Club's about to come out. We're told about Bored Ape Yacht Club and we don't buy it because we didn't think the art was that cool. And
so for people who don't know Bored Ape Yacht Club, now they...
I think if you're aware of NFTs, you're definitely aware of Bored Ape Yacht Club. But if you're not aware of NFTs, you don't know what Bored Ape Yacht Club is. But it's like everyone, all celebrities that are trying to like get in on this Web3 thing, they're buying them. Like, did you see when Jimmy Fallon had one? Like when we were in Miami in December last year, me and Waffle, Jimmy Fallon had one on his show because Jimmy Fallon's got one now. And then he had Paris Hilton on like in February, and Paris Hilton's got one. And they like both had their Bored Apes out on fucking, and like, this is like, I don't know what Fallon's reach is, but it's got to be like, he's like the #1 YouTube, I think.
Yeah.
I think he's got the #1 YouTube. So he's got a fucking huge fucking reach. And so, you know.
But still, even if you see Jimmy Fallon with one, you're like, it's untouchable. You don't understand like that there are projects.
Not if you're like a successful person, you know, like let's say you're a moderately successful American and you could come up like fucking in December. I don't know how much they were. They were maybe fucking $300,000. But say you're a multimillionaire and you want to fucking party with celebrities, you can come up with $300,000.
But the average American,
there's a lot more millionaires than you realize.
I'm just the ones that are listening to this podcast. Okay?
The ones that are listening to
the
this
ones that drink $2
podcast,
PBRs.
We got to pump the super Yetis. Okay, this is not financial advice, but everybody that can afford a super Yeti, not financial advice. You know, whatever words I got to say to make it legal. But you know,
is that a thing?
What?
Do people have to say that?
Yes,
I hear people say it all the time, but I don't understand why. It's like
they don't want to get sued. They don't want to get in trouble with the government.
It's like me saying, I like to do mushrooms. You know,
that's not medical advice, but Kyle enjoys mushrooms and I do.
But you have to like put the stipulation out there too.
Not if you don't want to get sued.
Why? I'm not saying
charged.
It's like you don't. It's like the serial killer documentaries, right? They're not telling people to actually go serial kill.
No, yeah. I think people should watch. No, what I was saying about, I just don't think you should maybe go to sleep watching. People like will literally fucking stare at a phone until they go to sleep, and it's all that light is really bad for your fucking sleep function.
Well, no, I just mean that. It's hard to say even if someone does say, hey, go out and buy this right here.
Well, I mean, somebody told me, hey, go fucking buy this Bored Ape. And they were like next to fight. And I'm just like, no, it's too much money.
I'm
it's
simply
a stupid monkey picture.
Saying, you know, to the people out there, you know, this isn't financial advice. I always hear people say it, but I always wonder why are they doing this? Because
they're worried about getting in trouble.
Right. But if you go fucking buy something, that's on you. So
that's Kyle's way of saying not financial advice. Yeah. That's on you, buddy.
It's kind of what I say about everything. I'm like, dude, if you want to go kill somebody, you're going to be the one to get in trouble for it.
As long as you can say that, you're like, that's like we've washed your hands from the situation.
We watched, switching the subject again, but we'll go back to crypto in a second. We watched Jack Kevorkian. Or
Oh yeah,
you don't know Jack?
You fuck it. I didn't watch that documentary, but I even remember.
It wasn't a documentary. It was the Al Pacino. You don't know
he
Jack?
plays him.
Oh my God, yeah, so
Dude,
good.
that's got to be great.
So good. I was gonna try to watch it and fall asleep the other night. Turned it on.
Dude, that's
I couldn't.
probably really good.
Oh my God, dude. The lawyer in that film knocked it out of the park. I don't know who the guy is, but I've seen him in a lot of stuff. I just don't know his name. Incredible.
Actors could probably make really good lawyers because they're really good at, bullshitting people.
And apparently that's what this guy was like in real life too. So he had this goofy ass haircut.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Even Pacino, he did great as Kevorkian.
I remember in the 90s when all that went down and I was a little kid and I thought like this just like these people made a decision and this guy just helped them. Like,
Is that how you feel about it?
Pretty much. I mean, like I'm pretty into personal choice. I understand it was against the law and understand he broke the law and whatever. But like at the end of the day, I think those people made a personal decision.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the way the court system did him was fucked over. And like the people that kept prosecuting him over and over again, because they went.
Well, yeah, that was fucked up too. He's like an old man.
Well, it was like their egos were at play because they kept getting beat. So it had nothing to do with the fact that he was actually, what he was doing is the fact that they just wanted to win.
I think that's a lot of, that was what happened with Michael Jackson from my understanding now, like from some of the, like there's some podcast out. It's like maybe the MJ cast or something like that. And that's all they talk about is about how like malicious these prosecutors, and they could never prove anything. They never actually proved anything.
Right.
And all of Michael's lawyers told him not settle out of court for the civil suit because they're like, everybody's going to say you did it now.
Yeah. Just ruin your public image.
And apparently that's what happened.
His name was Kevorkian. Yeah.
Yeah.
They tried to like fight back on it too. And he did a good job with like getting all the magazines and stuff. Cause they made him a celebrity really, as the other people were trying to paint him in a bad light. But it's just, it's such a crazy situation. Like if you were that ill where you could not live, because he turned a bunch of people down too.
Well, now they make so much money off of it and they just call it hospice instead. They're like, oh, you've got terminal cancer.
But still, they're not killing you. They're like letting you suffer.
No, I mean, they pump you full of so many opiates. They just basically give you opiates until you overdose. But you got to be real close to the end for them to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, he was doing it with carbon monoxide.
That sounds painful, though, to be honest.
Yeah, I started looking up what the effects were. I don't know if he was doing it in like such high concentrations, but the people were like, they would breathe in for like 30 seconds and they would just like fall over.
Yeah, that sounds painful.
Is it?
I don't know.
I think it would just drown. It would just like, because it replaces the blood with carbon monoxide over carbon dioxide.
I mean, they've determined whatever the lethal injection. That's like the most humane way to kill people right now.
Because they put him to sleep first.
I guess.
He did that with the last person that he killed. So this is why he actually went to jail, if you don't know the story. But the other times it was assisted suicides because he would turn the gas on, but he wouldn't actually pull the clip off of the tube. He would let the person pull the clip off the tube. But the last guy that he went in, he had to actually kill him because the guy had whatever disease was, he couldn't like lift a muscle. And he was going to like die.
He had like
choking,
muscular dystrophy or something.
Something like that. So he couldn't lift any of his muscles he couldn't move his muscles. So Kevorkian had to go in and he actually put him to sleep first. And then he like injected something that stopped his lungs from breathing. And then he injected something that stopped his heart. But yeah. And that's what they got him on because he didn't just assist that suicide. He actually went through with it. And
if anything,
he murdered
he should
someone.
have been charged with theft of services because he was charging for something that was so cheap and easy to do.
Was he actually charging for it?
I don't know.
Because that's another question I had because he was living like broke his entire life. And then he started like, once he became like a celebrity or whatever. Then
Dr. Death, that's what they called him.
Yeah, once he garnered that name, then people started, I guess, giving him money for interviews. I don't know what they were doing, but it seemed like he had a little more money then. But they never discussed that in the film.
He probably made money off of like if he did a Time interview or something, they probably paid him for those interviews.
Well, he did have an art gala one time. So
that's cool.
He used to do art with his own blood. I'd love to have
a Dr. Kevorkian art piece, dude.
With his own blood.
Dude, Dr. Kevorkian NFTs.
Well, he couldn't pay him with his own blood, but
maybe we'll send him a physical sample of his blood. Is he still alive?
No,
he died.
Yeah. Spent 10 years in prison for killing that guy.
Yeah.
That's what's fucked up is the final trial that he went through, the prosecutors realized that the reason they lost all the other trials was because Dr. Kevorkian had been able to get the family on, and the family's testimony swayed the jury because it was very emotional, and they were like, no, he didn't kill my family member. My family member wanted to die because of the the lack of life that they were living. So the final trial, they dropped that charge, the assisted suicide charge, and just went straight with the murder charge. And so the judge wouldn't let him have the family come to testify. So the jury never got swayed by the emotions.
It'd be too prejudicial.
They just said there's no reason for the family to testify because that's not what you're getting tried for. You're getting tried specifically because we have a video of you killing a guy.
Where'd they get the video? He decided to video it?
He videoed every one of them. And that was what also swayed his testimony in the other trials, because he had a videotape of that person saying, I don't want to be here anymore, in their ways they could. And then he had the family members there too. And then he like videotaped the assisted suicide. So he actually you saw the person pull the clip off.
Like with cognitive dissonance, like you were speaking of earlier, why is it okay to do it to a dog or a cat, but it's not okay to do it to a human,
It's because we think we're better than the animals.
Nah, I don't think that.
Well, no, I mean, I don't think that either, but I think that's what, that's.
I mean, the animals have got a much better life than I do.
I think that's like what humans think, that they're above the animal kingdom, when in reality, we are just the animal kingdom.
Yeah, we're animals, as human as animal.
Yeah.
That's a great short film you should see.
Oh, it's an actual film?
Oh, yeah. It's really good.
Yeah, I'm working on Bourbon Street for as long as I did. I mean, that right there was enough to teach me how much animals humans still are. Like, it's crazy down there, man. There's some of the shit that I've seen.
Yeah, people come to New Orleans and they've got a whole different idea of what reality is when they come here. That's
the thing. It's not just people that live in New Orleans. It's people that have come from other places.
No, yeah, it's usually the tourists that have some sort of idea of what New Orleans is, and they're like, I'm coming to New Orleans. Anything goes.
And it does. For
the most part.
Yeah, like oh my God, dude. We'll go into these stories some other times. Let's get back to crypto.
So yeah, it's like mid 2020 maybe. Bored Apes have come out. Everything's getting really profitable. Things are going crazy. And the most profitable projects, the ones that are referred to as blue chips in the NFT space are the ones that you own full commercial rights of the art. Like you can take the art, you can print t-shirts, you could fucking license it for a movie. You can do whatever you want. It's your art now.
Mm-hmm.
So, all of a sudden, like derivatives start popping up, like the shoes you and me got from 10KTF shop, and like all kinds of crazy stuff starts happening. Now, like fast forward, it's like, a pair of those shoes are worth like at least 1 ETH, I think.
Yeah.
And like that's just on the low end of NFTs. They've like the most recent, did you see the Moonbirds project? There was like another profile picture project. Like profile picture projects lost popularity towards the end of last year. And then out of nowhere, this new one came called Moonbirds. They're all like pixel owls, pixel art. Mm-hmm. And dude, I can't even I don't want to tell you the wrong numbers because I'm always like over exaggerating the numbers sometimes. But it was like their floor was like 20 ETH or something, like right after sellout.
So in 20 ETH right now is what's $4,000, right? 20 times $4,000.
Well, no, it's like right under 3 right now. There was a little bit of a drop in ETH.
So you're looking at like what, 60 grand, something like that?
Yeah, something like that. And that's just for like not even the rare ones. So like all NFT generative projects, there's different rarity traits, you know?
So for those who don't know what a generative project is, it's where you basically take an algorithm and you plug in the certain traits that you want, and the computer makes the NFTs with the traits all combined. So the user who makes the app or whatever, who makes the project, has no clue like which going to come out the other end, but you get all these rare ones that come through this. And
so yeah, this is Moonbirds, 10K items. Floor price is 31 right now.
Jesus Christ.
31. And look how much they've traded in volume on this. This is just secondary sales.
So $90,000 for one of these NFTs.
Yeah, for a Moonbird. Here, I'll show you guys one. This is the cheapest one you could buy right now. You can see that. I don't know if you can.
I can probably see it.
But
how much is that one going for? 20.
This is 31 ETH, $86,000, 748
$86,748.23.
So that's the art side of NFTs.
Well, this is a little bit more than art. This is like a lot of speculative shit.
Shit with these profile pictures because they think all these projects are gonna build the most insane metaverse, which is basically like a big video game universe, and like build a video game that you play to earn crypto on, which the Bored Apes are doing. You know, if anybody's doing it, the Bored Apes are doing it. I don't know if Moonbirds will do it. The guy that created Dig did this. So,
But like, what are you going to do in the metaverse whenever?
run around.
But I mean, you
got one of those VR headsets now. I heard through the grapevine, right?
Yeah, I got a VR headset now.
So you like sitting on the beach and shit like that, right?
Oh my God, dude, it's so ridiculous.
So you'll be doing that, but imagine if you could do it in fucking space and it's like very realistic and fucking immersive.
No, I get it.
You know, or you could do it in fucking Bored Ape Land or fucking Wagme Land or.
Well, the only thing that I can say about the VR headset that I don't like is the fact that it like hurts my eyes. Like I have really good vision. I don't wear
How long
contacts
do
or
you
anything.
use it?
The other day I was just 30 minutes.
30 minutes and it hurts your eyes?
Yeah.
Can you adjust the brightness setting on it?
Well, it's not the brightness though. It's because of the distance. So in real life, our eyes are adjusting to distance, right?
Yeah, I mean, like ideal viewing distance for like a TV that big. There's a TV behind us. It looks like it's maybe 55 inches. Ideal viewing distance for something like that's about 6 feet.
And I am.
Yeah, you're right up on it.
Yeah. So I don't know what.
That's why people didn't like the active at home 3D because it was actually better than the 3D in the movie theaters, but you had a 1080p screen in each eye flickering like this to get the two images to fucking merge together. And it gave a lot of people headaches.
The same thing as this, I guess, right?
Yeah. It's probably similar.
Yeah, I can't do distance at all. But yeah, I don't know, maybe it's something you get used to. I don't know. I just don't want to fuck my eyes up because I can see it doing that.
Yeah, probably. I mean, you know, all those like handheld gaming systems say, you know, play them for 20 or 30 minutes and then give it a rest.
Yeah. But it's pretty amazing. I've played a couple games on it, but the coolest thing for me is just browsing the internet. So you can sit there, you can be like in your own space, wherever you want to be. So for me, it's like this pagoda type situation where there's like all these dragonflies and stuff flying around. It's really awesome. But then I can just like throw these massive screens up, like 40
like Iron Man,
or
right?
I don't know how big they are, like fucking 10-foot long TVs. They're huge.
It's just Google or fucking Netflix or whatever.
Dude, Instagram on one, like fucking YouTube on the other one, just everything. It's crazy.
So yeah, that's what'll happen in the metaverse. You'll have your parcel of land, you'll have your house, somebody will come and visit you, you'll watch a fucking 60-foot YouTube stream together, and then they'll fucking take their headset off and be in their room.
The one game that we played, it was it's like this war game. And it's so trippy, dude. I've always saw those videos of those people that get so immersed that they like run or something at a wall. Like I had to watch myself the other night.
I did VR in Orlando. They've got these chain of
their arcades, and it's called Main Event. And the one in Orlando has like full room VR. You know what I'm saying?
We might have to cut this short in a minute.
And that's all good.
Yeah.
And it's like Call of Duty Black Ops Zombies, but like you're in a room, you got the vest on. And one of my friends got so scared by one of the zombies running at him, he like freaked out and he just fell. Like he was standing up and he just fell because he thought like he cowered in fear from the zombie running at him.
So we actually bought a zombie game, but I haven't got to play it yet. I've been busy. But it's like it's on my VR headset, just waiting for me to like check it out.
Yeah. This was cool because you actually moved around and moved in the environment.
Same this one. Yeah. So since in my room, my apartment, I had this like wide open area on the other side. I can put in my play area as that entire area.
So you can actually set up the play area with the one you got? Yeah. A friend of mine, Grant, has got one of those. He works on shit like that in New York. And a few of my friends went up there and played it, but
we see you over there, Pickle. All right, Andrew.
All right,
I'll have to have you come back on sometime, man, because like you have a lot of knowledge on this crypto and stuff that I don't know.
It was great talking to you, man.
Great talking to you, brother. Yes.
feels like we were only here for 10 minutes.
Andrew Mayeux.
Mayeux.
Yeah, where can they find you on social media and stuff? Or do you want to
at Andrew Mayeux, Mayyou?
And your film stuff?
Is you should be able to find it all through there. It's all linked. I'm on Vimeo.
Hell yeah! Thanks for coming in,
Everything's
brother.
private right now, though.